Bonjour classe! Today's video is about making sentences with ER verbs. Notre objectif? We need to learn how to make sentences like these ones. I study French. He travels to France. We dance a lot. Step 1 is knowing all 10 of our pronouns. You can't make sentences like I study or he's eating unless you have words like I and he. Can you fill in this pronoun chart? By now you should know these. I is je. You can be tu or vous. We can be on or nous. He and she are il and elle. Who is qui, and they is il or elle. Step 2 is knowing our ER verbs, which are our action words. Because to make sentences like I study or he's eating, you already know I and he. Now you need to know study and eating. So, comment dit-on to eat, to study, to sing? There are your three answers. To eat is manger, to study is étudier, and to sing is chanter. In a way, that ER ending is kind of like the word to in English. Now, all we need to do is put them together. We're going to start with our pronouns, I, you, he, she, je, tu, il, elle. We're going to add our ER verb, so we can say I eat, I sing, manger, chanter, nager, étudier, dessiner. Any ER verb will do. And when you put them together, you get a full sentence in French. So knowing this, how would you say I sing in French? Think about it. The answer to that question is a bit of a trick question. How do you say I sing in French? The correct answer is je chante. Weirdly, we wouldn't keep the spelling chanter. And that's because chanter means to sing. That ER has to go. It doesn't mean I sing. You can think of chante with an E as the special spelling that goes with je. You can even see it in the two pictures below. We've got a kids CD called Je chante l'alphabet, I sing the alphabet, and we've got a really good song by Mika called Je chante, I sing. Both of those are spelled with an E, not an ER like on our vocab sheet. Now, chante isn't the only special spelling of chanter. I want you to take a look at these book and movie titles. Why isn't chanter spelled with an ER in all of them? We've got E, ES in the second one, chanton with an ONS, then an EZ, and finally an ENT. I'm going to give away the answer, guys. Chante is a special spelling to go with je, and the other pronouns get special spellings too. Chante with an ES goes with tu. ONS always goes with nous. Chanter with an EZ goes with vous as a group command. And chante with an ENT is for groups of people, like il or elle, as you can see on that movie poster. Now your job is to memorize this pattern. Which spellings go with which people? If the pronoun is je, il, elle, on, or qui, basically all the short ones, the ER has to become an E instead. If the pronoun is tu, it needs to become an ES. If the pronoun is nous, for we, formal, it will have to be ONS. If it's vous, for formal or for a group, it will need to be EZ. And if it's il, elle, group of boys, group of girls, or mixed, it will need to change to ENT. Now the good news is that these are easy to remember. I remember that most of the short ones, the ones that are only like 2, maybe 3 letters, they end in E. And tu, remember that S's are silent, so an ES ending is basically the same as an E ending. So really, nous, vous, il, elle at the bottom are the only weird ones to remember. Most of them just end with the letter E instead of ER. You might want to get out your vocab sheet before the next slide because we're going to go over some activities. The spelling change rules are written right on that chart. So if you don't have it, screenshot this table really quickly before we continue to the next slide. Okay, it's time to practice. Translate these sentences using the verb chanter, to sing. I have your vocab sheet on the right just in case you need it. Do you understand? Nous chantons, je chante, tu chantes, vous chantez, il chante, and il chante? If you got these right, you would have we sing, I sing, you sing the formal or plural way, he sings, and they sing. Notice that even though in English it's just sing, 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 in French you have to memorize different spellings based on the pronoun that you use. For example, number 1, nous, always has ONS, and number 6, il, always has ENT. Let's try again. This time we're using the verb dessiner, which means to draw. But none of the examples down below use that ER spelling. Instead, they use the spellings that are adapted to the person doing the drawing. Can you tell me what nous dessinons, je dessine, tu dessines, vous dessinez, il dessine, and il dessine means? If you got them right, they should all be draw, but with a different person. We draw, I draw, you draw, he draws, and they draw. Notice in English, it's usually just draw, all spelled the same way. But in French, it has to change based on who's doing the drawing. All right, this time, I have mixed up a bunch of different verbs from our list. I won't read them. Can you tell me what they mean? Here's your answer key. Notice, doesn't matter which verb it is. In number 1, nous nageons, nager became ONS because of nous. In number 4, vous mangez. Why is it spelled with an EZ? Because vous makes you spell it with an EZ. And number 8, why is elle chante with an E? Because it has to be. Whenever elle begins the sentence, the verb must change from ER to E. It works the same way for all of them. Okay guys, our last activity is to make some sentences with the verb danser. The trick is that you're going to have to change the spelling from ER to match whoever is doing the dancing. Use the table above if you're not exactly sure how to spell what you hear. Number 1, je danse. Number 2, nous dansons. Number 3, vous dansez. Number 4, on danse. Number 5, il danse. Number 6, tu danses. If you heard me correctly, this is how you would spell what I said. Je danse, nous dansons, vous dansez, on danse, il danse, which could be either one of those, and tu danses. How did you know how to spell danse? Well, you use the chart on the right, and it's just memorization. Let's loop back to the beginning and look at our objective. Our goal was to learn how to make sentences like these. I study French, he travels to France, we dance a lot. And to make a sentence like that, such as I study, first you need to know all 10 of your pronouns, then you need to know the right verb, and then you have to remember the spelling change pattern. Il, elle, on, and qui all have an E. Tu takes ES, nous goes to ONS, vous changes to EZ, and il, elle, plural become ENT. How would I put these all together to make I study? It would look just like that. J'étudie. I changed the ER to an E because that's what you do with je. One last note before we're done is that, of course, French has silent letters. This is all of the possible sentences you can make from manger. Je mange, il mange, elle mange, on mange, qui mange, tu manges, nous mangeons, vous mangez, il mange, and elle mange. Now, all of these ones in the circles sound the same because S at the end of a verb is silent and NT at the end of a verb is also silent. So 8 of the 10 are just mange. The vous form sounds just like the ER form. They are both pronounced manger. They sound exactly the same. This means you only really need to learn one new pronunciation, and that's nous mangeons, which sounds like on at the end. Not so bad. In conclusion, you can make sentences like I eat by taking a pronoun, for example, je, adding the verb, manger, and then changing the spelling to match, je mange. That's all there is to it. À bientôt.